name's Mark Armstrong. I come from Longtown farm. I'm aged 54. I've been farming since the day I left school, but long before that, when I was old enough to go on the farm. My grandfather started farming, my grandparents, then my father, which was Derek Armstrong, and my mother, Fiona Armstrong, and now on the farm myself. It's myself, my wife Alison, and my two boys, Thomas and Jonathan. The day-to-day duties is milking. I think we're milking roughly about 320 cows. On the farm we'll have roughly 130 bulls with followers, which is 40 continental heifers, and then we'll have the offspring of the cows after that. This is the calf shed you come to, all the young calves on. They start in this shed, this pen here. This is the baby calves from a day old upwards. You see we put jackets on them just to help them keep warm and that in a cold day and that like that. And we also have these calf machine here, you see here, automatic calf feeders with there's a teat on here, and they've got collars around the neck, and they automatically come in here and get fed 3 times a day. They get 3 litres 3 times a day, and they go for 10 weeks. It gradually feeds them up in the first couple of days, and it keeps them steady thing of it, and after 10 weeks it'll start weaning them off the milk. And then they go out of here into another shed after that. They get obviously their straw in the hex, they get calf cake in the troughs, and they get water as well in here, and they get bedded every day. A typical day on the farm, we obviously start maybe just after 5 o'clock. We start milking the cows, my wife and the boys do, and then we continue on feeding the cows, bedding the beasts, and then we have the young calves to feed, and then we have the young calves to bed, and just everything, all same duties every day and every night. And we usually get back finished from usually 6:30, 7 o'clock. The land total is about 750 acre total we're farming. We do everything ourselves, all the ploughing, drilling, livestock work, everything. The cows in the winter are all housed, all the stock's all housed inside, so we just got generally scraping cows out, doing the cubicles, bedding the cows, bedding the stirks, bedding the calves, feeding calves, just normal thing. When it comes to the spring, obviously we start with the spring work with the tractors, and that ploughing, drilling. In the spring we have a lot of winter crops in as well from the winter, so we have to start putting manure on there, spraying them for weeds and things like that. And then we go on to, after we looked after the winter crops, we go and put the spring crops in. We put the maize in, which we grow maybe about 100 acre of maize. They'll plough that, and then we get somebody in to drill it, and then we'll be putting spring barley in that we've got left. We usually grow about 30-40 acre of spring barley, and that's to go in and get the ground all thing. We've got muck and sleet to go out there as well before we start ploughing and drilling. And then summertime, the cows go out usually about April time. They go out to grass, and they go out just for maybe about 8 hours in the day, and then we fetch them back in to milk them. And usually, normally now overnight, we keep them in overnight. to try and get a bit more feed into them to produce more milk. Once over they wouldn't, they would go outside and would stop out at night, but just lately we've been keeping them in at night just to try and get a bit more milk at them. Here on the right hand side, on this other side, are all the milking cows. As you can see, the line in the cubicles, they can come and eat 24/7. The scrape alleys get scraped out twice a day, and we milk twice a day. The hardest part of the job is when you buy all your feed in and everything's going well, and then all of a sudden things just start, the price of everything, just like at the moment, is starting to creep away. Like your electric price is going up, fuel's gone up, all your feed costs is going up, your manure's gone through the roof, which is from like 200 odd pound a tonne, 300 pound a tonne. Now they're saying it's over 600 pound a tonne. That can make a big hole in your profit at the end of the year. The biggest changes, there's been a few. Brexit is a big change, obviously. COVID hasn't been good, I said, because it's getting parts and getting things, and businesses closed, and you can't get a hold of folk, and people's not at work, and just you just get over one another one, and you just get over something, and something else seems to happen, or it's just changing all the time. COVID, when COVID came along, when he first came along, I had a son that was going to get married, and obviously that got knocked on the head for 12 months. This is my son Thomas, that looks after the calf side, and he usually, after he's finished milking, Thomas will come along and check all the calves, walk around all the stock every day.
Yeah, the cows do have different personalities, yeah, and so do the calves. They're all different. Some are slow, some are fast, some like cake more than others. Some obviously give a lot more milk than others, and some are just very nosy and just won't leave you alone.
And then Thomas did get married to Lindsay, and that was the night before New Year's Eve, and we had to, we got 4 hours notice to say we're having it 12 hours before lockdown, so we had to get milked, get everything all done, everything finished, so we could have my son's wedding. That was one thing, COVID. And then after that, it's just, I've myself caught it, so we had to isolate. My wife caught it, we had to isolate. My son caught it, we had to isolate. But you still got to let the farm go on. My two sons never got it, so I couldn't go outside, they couldn't come in the house, and it just went on like that. But business-wise, it was unreal trying to get parts and things. Some businesses weren't open, some were just doing it from home, and then you're trying to carry on farming through it all, and you weren't allowed to go here because you were supposed to be isolating, and you weren't supposed to do this, and it was a nightmare at times. Like, but you just worked on and you got through it all, but it is what it is. It just looks like the way life is. We've got to carry on with it the way it is. What was foot and mouth like compared to COVID? Foot and mouth was absolutely devastating. To think that you'd worked for all them years on your farm. I've never seen nothing like it in my life. I had my 2 boys coming on, leaving school, coming on, and it was heartbreaking to think where we're going to go now. We had beef and sheep on foot and mouth. We had 150 suckler cows, 650 ewes, and you were thinking which way we're going to go now. And my boys were just about ready for leaving school, and we had a big, long, deep thought about it. And actually, as you can see, we went into dairy. And one reason I went into dairy is for the boys' future. So we knew where we were coming from every month. You knew what you were making, what was happening. Beef and sheep was okay at the time when we were in it. It was doing well. You were working a lot of hours, the same as dairy. It's no difference in dairy and beef. You still work the same hours, but you just got a bit better future. As you're selling your milk to somebody, you know roughly what you produce in a month and what you're going to think a bit. Beef and sheep, the price can be up and down as thing a bit. So obviously we went into milk and we're pleased we've done it for the boys' sake. They both left school and they're still here today. So obviously, and they went right into farm and always have been and always will be as far as I'm concerned. COVID situation, when COVID struck, well, nobody knew what it was like because nobody'd seen it. We've seen when foot and mouth come, it was more or less the same, but foot and mouth just happened overnight, and you seen what was happening in China, you're thinking, oh, you didn't know what to think. And when they put everything on lockdown and things like that, well, our boys couldn't go out, they couldn't go nowhere, they had to stop at home, they had to think a bit, so it was just like keep your head down, keep yourself safe, and hopefully everything will get by, which we have. And it was not as worrying as foot and mouth, but it was worrying enough because you heard of people dying with COVID and that like and that, and we've obviously got children. We've got my other son works as a builder, and he didn't work on the farm, and he was coming back, and we had him isolating from us so we could carry on with our work, and he was thinking a bit on, and well, you didn't know where it was coming from either, and you didn't know where it was going or what was happening. You just had to play by ear, and hopefully everybody's got through it, which they have. Right, go through this way. New gate about. Just so nothing gets mixed up with dry cows and milk cows. And separated. Here we go. Now these are the milking cows that are in the mob now. They'll all come for a bit of look to see what's going on. What kind of an impact did it have on us personally? First of all, when you thought I've heard of COVID and that, and you've seen it on the news and that, you thought, well, we don't go far, we won't catch it. And then obviously we did, so it was the worst thing that happened to us was I would have said my son's wedding. That was the most effective thing. Like I expected a big wedding, and it was just it down to 15 of us, and that was it. My parents couldn't even go. From when you're getting vaccinated and that now, when you're giving the beasts their vaccinations and things like that, you think to yourself, I knew how I felt after I had my vaccination. You think to yourself, maybe when you see the cows aren't eating as well as they should be, you think to yourself, well, I don't blame them, because I felt like that one day after one of my vaccinations. So you sort of feeling for them now when you're vaccinating the beasts all the time and jabbing them for this, that and the other. It's not easy when there's anything going on different to what you used to, because you've got to think more ahead. Wagon shortage, there was a shortage of wagon drivers to get the animal feed in, and also what we're doing for we get cow cake in on a regular basis. Now we've got to go months ahead and tell them what we want and order it, how many days ahead all the time. So we've got to be like a month ahead of that. And also getting stuff on like towards Christmas and that, like you've got to be like a month ahead of yourself for getting the feed on, make sure everything's all booked in, unless they would just turn out and tell you, I'm sorry, but we can't do it because the driver's short. But once when you start getting short of feed, it's horrendous, like, because you're on the back foot then, like, and you want to have plenty of feed forward for it also. We had to do that, and also like parts, machinery parts and tractor parts and that, we just had to keep ahead of everything what we're doing to make sure we had everything in the workshop and all the parts ready for things. But those things happening that you don't expect to happen, and things breaking down that you don't expect to break down, and then you have to put the firms on that you use, and they would say, oh well, we'll have to try and get one from here or there, and it just put everybody on the back foot, like the whole situation. But it's the way life was, and you just had to get on with it. Make the most of it. The farming community and that about together and that, well, obviously you didn't see nobody. We used to go out on a Friday night with the lads to the pub and have a big crack, just thing where that was all stopped. And obviously we weren't seeing none of the family because you didn't go and see nobody. Or if you went to see them, like my parents, I had to just see them through the window, I says, and just things like that. But it's not easy, but you just got to get on with life, haven't you? Any new opportunities have arrived since the pandemic? Not at the moment, there isn't, but there is things starting to come through the pipeline, but it's coming very slowly. Obviously with the government, the way things are going on at the moment with the government, they're trying to get themselves back on the lines and stop having parties and things like that, and hopefully they'll start getting around to it and we'll start getting back on a better footing and get going forward, and they'll stop arguing among themselves and hopefully get going properly. The future of farming in the UK, I think, like if you knuckle down and you're going to do all the legislations and everything and do everything what they say, I think there will be a good future with these young ones. Anybody that's wanting to come into farming now, that's just wanting a young lad that's just wanting to start up on his own, the price of things is incredible, like to buy anything to start off, like buy the livestock, the farm and anything, just a non-starter for them, and there's nothing there to start any young farms out. The more want to wipe them out than new ones coming in. My own sons, if they keep going the way they're going, they'll do okay, like, but it's just they will keep up with all the new legislations and that, and everything else that's coming into line. They've got to keep just going forward and doing it, which they've been growing up with computers and laptops and all that, and I think nothing of it. Like, it's the old dinosaurs like ourselves that haven't been, and we've just been brought up into it and trying to keep the job going forward. How would I like to see the farm going in the future? Well, my two boys are very, very keen, and they're progressing it on all the time. They're wanting to buy machinery and invest all the time in the farm, which I think is absolutely great. And I think you've got to be there you've got to be among it to be there. Like, if you don't, you just get left behind, and it'll quickly change, I think. But I just hope I hope with all the pricing and the way that it is at the moment, I just hope it all gets settled down after Brexit and everything all gets settled down and gets back to normal, and people like to continue, like the price of milk and that, and the price of beef, it's all good at the moment. I just hope it stops up there and gives everybody a chance to make a bit more money while the sun shines, as they say. And I always say to my sons now, enjoy yourself while you're here, because it's not a replay. It's here for the real, and I've always said that to them. like a second go round. I'll not even know what the big crystal ball is. It'd be very nice at the time, but I've enjoyed farming. It's been very challenging times at times, and I've enjoyed it. And people say, why do I do it? Because I enjoy it. I drove a wagon for a couple of years for my father, and I'd rather be farming than driving a wagon.